survey again. This survey is really helpful for us as we continue on this kind of work. We're continuing to grow our YouTube channel, grow our following, and we really appreciate this kind of feedback. The program code for this week's Cooking Connected, the Italian stuffed peppers, is going to be E0970058. So again, we really appreciate you guys and your feedback on that. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Chef Jordan.
Hey everyone, welcome back. If this is your first time with us, welcome. Today, like Sajwa mentioned, we are making the Italian stuffed peppers. So I know I say it every week, it's another Cooking Matters recipe, but this one is really one of my favorites. I actually just recently discovered this one and it is so good. So we are going to do that today. Sajwa, what do you think about this one? Have you tried this one yet?
I haven't done this one yet, but from the way you were raving about it, I've got to try it. I really like the idea of using peppers in a new way. I don't often do stuffed peppers or anything like that, so that would be new for me, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out for you.
Yeah, so this is a really great recipe. I really do love this one. So let's go ahead and get started. The first step says to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. So let's go ahead and do that just real quick. Again, I always forget that step, so it's not much fun, but I'm going to go ahead and switch my view so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, so again, we have our chef's view, and it looks like we lost Sajwa's camera. But let's see here. We've got all of our ingredients. Again, if you've been with us before, that is called mise en place. It's getting our space ready to get cooking. So we've got all our ingredients prepared and everything we need to prepare this recipe. Again, the first thing we always do when we start cooking, wash our hands. Yep. So we're washing our hands 20 seconds. Singing the ABCs is a good way especially if you have kids in the kitchen, just make sure you're getting all the surfaces of your hands. Yeah. And again, sanitizing our countertops. So that's always a really good way. Today we are working with a ground turkey and vegetables. So food safety is really important here. Just always remembering that. So we've already got step 1 done. We preheated our oven to 350. Our second step says to rinse peppers and mushrooms. Cut large peppers in half lengthwise and remove the seeds. Then finally chop bell peppers in half and finally chop the mushrooms. So we actually are working with 2 different kinds of bell peppers today. We've got our green right here, and then we actually are going to have a little bit of red bell pepper. Okay. So I have cut this recipe in half. So we are going to be working with a little less today, but let's go ahead and get started. So proper knife techniques again, we are pinching our blade, wrapping our fingers around. Yeah. Gives us more power and more control. So just remember that while we're working today. So all of our vegetables, have been rinsed, so we are in good shape. So let's go ahead and cut our peppers. You'll see that I have one cut here already. Mm-hmm. But I've been working with a few different ways of doing this, and I found that the easiest way is to actually kind of make a triangle up top with the cut. Now please be really careful when you're doing this because your hands are pretty close.
Yeah, you guys please watch your fingers when we're using knives, and again practicing those knife handling skills that Chef Jordan just demonstrated for us, especially for those who may be new coming into the kitchen. You're not a top chef yet, so we'll get there.
That's right. So I just went ahead and cut out this core with the seeds. Mm-hmm. And we can set that off to the side. I'm not sure if that's something that I will put in my broth bag today, but we always like to encourage broth bags here. So that is just saving all of your scraps and putting them in a bag in the freezer. Once that bag gets full, you can boil all those scraps and create a broth out of it. So.
Yeah, and you guys, please comment below or message us on Facebook. Do you think that would be a video you'd be interested in seeing? Maybe just like a quick little video about like how we make our vegetable broths because we've been talking about it a lot. I know you guys have been saving up all of your scraps. Maybe that's something we can do. Go ahead and comment below or message us on Facebook if that's something you're interested in seeing.
Absolutely. So let's see here. We've got those all cleared out. Now, it's okay if you have a few seeds in there. They're not going to hurt you. I just clear out all these white veins in here and then try to get as many seeds out as you can. We don't really want that too much in our food. So I'm just going to clear them off. I'm going to make a mess today, as per usual.
It's not cooking if you're not making a little bit of a mess.
That's right. I try to clean as I go, though. So
yeah.
All right, we already have our red pepper chopped, so we just chopped that really fine here. And we're going to add that into our recipe. You can use yellow peppers. I like to add a different colored pepper just to make it look really pretty and have all those colors pop. So.
Yeah, eating the rainbow. We do talk about that a lot on Cooking Connected here. And you know, that's a great way to make sure that you're getting a variety of different nutrients. And we'll actually talk more about that later. So stay tuned for that conversation.
All right, so we're just gonna rough chop our mushrooms really quick. This isn't really super professional here, but I'm just gonna really rough chop these. And I'm gonna kind of get them kind of small because we are going to be stuffing our peppers. So we're going to be frying all of this on the stove top with our turkey. We're going to mix all of it together, and then we're going to stuff our peppers and bake them. So we really don't want huge chunks of mushroom in there. So just real quick, rough chop this. It doesn't have to be super pretty. So we'll just go ahead and try to get this. It's kind of fun to chop mushrooms because they're so soft. It feels kind of weird, but all right. Just gonna make sure.
I always have a lot of fun when I get to do a rough chop like that, you know, and it's just like free, you're going at it. It's a lot of fun. I love that.
It is fun. All right, almost done here.
So yeah, Jordan, we are definitely gonna need to do that broth recipe and maybe do that with the Cooking Connected. I have a viewer here who would love to see that, so we're doing this for you.
Sounds good. I know we've had a couple of new ideas that we would like to show on Cooking Connected. Stay tuned. In a couple of weeks, we're going to learn how to make zucchini noodles. So
yeah, zucchini noodles. That will be so much fun. Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm really excited for that. So all your ideas, please let us know. We actually really love to get that feedback and learn how to make new things. Half the fun is learning how to make new recipes together.
Yep.
All right, so we got that nice, chopped up nice. And I just kind of did almost like we would a mince, like Sajwa had mentioned in the last videos, putting our fingers up top and then rocking our knife around. So next we're gonna peel our onion and garlic, and then we're gonna finally chop our onion and mince our garlic. So I do have a half an onion that I had left over. Again, if you're cutting an onion, rinse it first, chop the top off, a little bit of that fuzzy part, and then chop it directly in half. Then we're going to go ahead and take off this skin. This is something that you can add in your broth bag.
Yeah, I've heard that you could even add like apple cores or something like that. But I mean, you want to have, you can add some of them, but you don't want a very sweet broth, of course. I mean, I guess depends on what your taste is, but so your broth bag is really up to you and it's up to your discretion, but definitely onion peels are a must, and I do put a lot of those in my broth bag.
Yeah, I really like to add carrot tops as well. Here's my
So I see that you did that technique that you usually do where you follow the lines again of the onion.
Yep.
Okay, and then we just did a chop there. Yeah.
Yep, and then a chop straight down after that. I'm getting towards the end, so I'm going to lay it down flat and just quickly chop this up. Try not to waste any of my onion. Right.
Yeah, I really like that you said that just now. I do like to make sure I get like as close to that like fuzzy end as I can. We want to make sure we're using our full onion, our full bell pepper, like Jordan did earlier as she demonstrated, because throwing away those parts is just throwing away a major portion of the pepper. I mean, that's money going in the garbage. Might as well use it.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm just gonna make sure a lot of these sections like to stick together. If you can keep them together, but obviously when you stuff your pepper, you're gonna have a huge chunk of onion in one bite, and that's not gonna be super appetizing. So just keep that stuff in mind when you're starting to chop things. Next is our garlic. I know Sajwa has a really great tip to use a cutting board and then smash it down. So if you do like to do that, I encourage you to do that. I use this, hopefully won't be cutting myself today. And just pressing down. We had a little bit actually sneak out on me. This is a big clove. We're gonna take all of that paper off, and we are another broth bag favorite there. So, and I actually accidentally left this hard part on this edge, so we're gonna take that off too. And of course you can use the pre-minced garlic. There's nothing wrong with that. Fresh garlic, there's something about fresh garlic. It is, if you got it on hand, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy a nice strong garlic flavor myself. And I find that I just get such a great punch with the fresh garlic. And then also that crushing is a lot of fun.
Love that sound.
Mm-hmm.
But again, mincing technique, fingers on top and rocking your knife around the cutting board. So we're just gonna quickly mince this. The more you mince it, the more you're gonna taste it. And of course you can always add more. I honestly would add probably 2 cloves because I love garlic so much, but if you don't, leave that out.
Right. I mean, like we always say, these recipes are a guideline. So when you're following them, you can make little subtle adjustments that fit your taste and your palate a bit better. So keep that in mind, especially like after having done it once or twice before, you can kind of start running wild with it.
Yes. So
hopefully everyone is able to follow along with the recipe we've got. I'm going to just drop that in the live chat right now for you again so that you guys can follow along with us with the recipe.
all right, so now that we've got everything kind of ready to go, we've got all our vegetables ready, now we can take out the meat. So when we're doing this recipe, I encourage you to keep your turkey in the fridge as long as possible. Make sure it's ready, but we've got everything ready to go, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab my meat real quick, and we're gonna actually start browning that right away.
Yeah, and what I like about what Jordan has just done here is she took care of all of her vegetables first before even introducing meat to the situation. And as we went through last week, I believe when we were doing the egg, the frittata, it's really important to make sure that you're practicing that kind of food safety, that you're watching out for cross-contamination, and that, you're keeping your raw and your things like that aren't being cooked separate from the meats and stuff, because foodborne illnesses are not fun.
Absolutely not. So
That's not a good time. That's not the way you want to spend this beautiful weather. You don't want to be stuck inside, okay?
So it says our next step is in step 4 is to actually grate our cheese. Again, today we are using a pre-grated cheese. So we are using a part skim mozzarella. If you are using some block cheese, make sure you grate that right away. That would be a really great thing for your kids to help with.
Yeah.
So let's see here. We're going to go ahead and a large skillet over medium heat. We're going to cook our turkey. So we got our turkey here. Our finely chopped bell pepper. So we've got that. Our mushrooms, and we actually have quite a few mushrooms that we're going to be using. And then our onion and our garlic. So we've got a lot of bowls over here that we're going to be throwing in this pan.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start cooking. Now you may want to add oil. I noticed when I made this recipe last time, it actually doesn't say to add oil to your pan. But you may want to consider it. I might just add just a taste, just for fun. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit.
Yeah, that's a really great point to make. Things like ground turkey, it is a leaner option when compared to something like a ground beef. So you're not going to get all of that extra, like those extra juices and the extra fats that you would see in a ground beef, for example. So maybe adding a little bit of oil can help with that. I really do like that this recipe uses ground turkey for the simple fact that it is the leaner protein option. And again, we're looking at that saturated fat that we're getting. So consider that. I think this recipe could also be really cool with like a shredded chicken if you wanted to mix it up, or you can really do your thing with this. Yeah, maybe even some lentils in there, depending on how you want to cook them up. Maybe a little curry lentil inside. You could really do a lot with this recipe.
Absolutely. I know in another class we actually did stuffed peppers with chicken. That was really great. So that is definitely, you can change up your proteins quite a bit here. So we're gonna let this brown, and that's just gonna take a few minutes, and we just mixed everything in. I do have extra mushrooms. I'm gonna save these. We make omelets quite a bit in my house, so it might be a little bit different not having the full mushroom with an omelet, but that's all right.
Still works.
Still works, that's right.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and let this cook down for a little while, and that'll just take about 5 minutes or so, maybe a little less.
Okay. And Jordan, while you're letting that cook down, I think this would be a good time for us to get a little bit of that nutrition education that I mentioned earlier. So let's just reverse back to earlier when we saw the chef's view, and in the chef's view, we saw that Jordan had a green bell pepper, she had a red one. She had a lot of different colors going on there. We saw some whites coming in with the garlic and onions. We've got the browns coming in with the mushrooms. And what we always say at Cooking Matters is to try to eat a rainbow. And I know it sounds so like, what does that even mean? But by eating a rainbow, it's ensuring that you're eating a variety of different fruits or vegetables. In this case, we've definitely got some rainbow colors shooting up there, and each color actually does different things for your body. By doing this, you're making sure you're getting a variety of different nutrients into your diet. So for example, the color red, something like an apple, tomato, strawberries, watermelon, things like that. Red is really known for the heart, so think red, the heart, and with that, you're going to be lowering the risk of cancer, promoting healthy heart, and improving memory, so it's helpful for that. Orange and yellow, you want to think more of like eyes and vision, again, healthy heart, all of this is great for the heart. Strength to fight off colds, and then again, lowering the risk of some cancers. The color white, also the heart, the heart is just getting really helped out with this rainbow. So keep that in mind. Green is going to be good for your eyes, for the vision, strengthening your bones, and then again, lowering the risk of cancer and other chronic diseases. Blue and purple are supposed to help promote good memory, and then that also helps with healthy aging. So keep that in mind when you guys are incorporating different vegetables into things like this recipe, the stuffed peppers, maybe a stir fry, your pizzas, the different toppings you're using. Try to incorporate as many colors as you can, because then when you're choosing from a lot of different color groups, you're getting a lot of different nutrients. The second thing I wanted to mention, and kind of off of that note, is also eating different parts of the plant. So there are definitely different parts of the vegetables. We've got the seeds, roots, stems, leaves, flowers, and the fruit, the actual fruit. So seeds would be things like beans, pumpkin seeds, black beans, peas, split beans, corn, incorporating some of those kind of things in. Root vegetables would be like beets, onions, carrots. We're using some onions today. Potato, sweet potato. The stem, that would be something like an asparagus, is a stem vegetable, broccoli, celery, rhubarb. Also with leaves, Brussels sprouts, we see our kales, lettuces, spinaches, things like that. And then flowers, I guess broccoli and cauliflower would be considered flowery. And then we have our fruit. So we all know what fruit is, apples, bananas, oranges, things like that. Avocado is technically a fruit with a seed, so fun tip there. But try to incorporate different parts of the plant into your diet. Anytime you're eating vegetables, you're doing your body and your heart a good service. So keep that in mind as you're moving forward with your cooking.
Yeah.
How are things looking over there, Jordan?
Looking good. I just showed you guys in the chef view a few seconds ago what it's looking like. There is a little bit of moisture that comes off in this recipe, and it actually does suggest to, in a colander, remove that liquid and then return it to the pan and keep cooking. So I just real quickly removed that with a colander, just in the sink real quick, take some of that moisture out. And then I'm going to go ahead, and I've already got it back in my pan. As you can see, we're going to add our tomatoes. So we are using a no salt added option. You can see that right there. Tomatoes in, and then tomato sauce. And this is also comes in a no salt added option as well. So
Awesome.
if you have access to those, make sure you can, you know, increase your salt a little bit.
Right, exactly.
So we're gonna go ahead and stir that up. I do want to remind everyone, so this recipe calls for 12 ounces of turkey. So if you buy the, you know, the big 1 pound, which is actually 16 ounces, just make sure that you keep that in mind. If you are using that full amount of turkey, it will dry out your recipe a little bit. And that is gonna be important, especially when we're cooking our, we're going to be adding some rice here soon that is not cooked yet. It's an instant rice, and it actually uses the moisture that's in here to cook the rice. So if you're adding extra things, it'll take up all of that moisture and it won't have enough for the rice. So just keep that in mind.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna go ahead and add our seasonings now. We've got salt, pepper, thyme, oregano, and crushed bell pepper, or excuse me, crushed pepper. And I'm usually not one for spicy food or really crushed pepper at all, but it's really, really amazing in this recipe. So
Oh, good. Okay.
I definitely encourage you to add it, even if you don't like it. I'm not a huge fan either, but it really just adds a little nice kick to this, and it's awesome. So we added our spices, and now let's see, we're gonna add our rice. So again, just gonna show you real quick what this looks like in our chef's view.
Ooh, thanks for popping that in the chef's view. Oh, wow. Yes, that looks really good, Jordan.
So you'll see we do have a little bit of moisture there. We're gonna add our rice in.
Okay. And what kind of rice are you using today?
We are using a instant rice. So it does request an instant rice, and the reason for that is because it's called, the rice is actually parboiled is what it's called. That just means that it's been cooked a little bit, so it cooks faster. If you are going to use like a long grain rice that it comes in the bags, it is a little bit cheaper, but it is going to take longer to cook.
And that's a good tip to know too, as we're doing this in our own kitchen. Those little subtleties.
Yes. So the long grain rice, what you could do is you could actually boil it ahead of time a little bit. It'll save you a little bit of money to buy the long grain rice.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
And then you actually cover it and let it simmer for a little while.
Okay.
And if you usually simmer it until your rice is a little bit, it's been softened a little bit. For time's sake, we're just going to let it simmer for just a minute or two. And then we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to put it right in our baking dish. So today I'm just using a small one because I've only got 3 peppers. But if you are making the full recipe, I would encourage you to use your big 9x13. I do have my 9x13 here, just kind of hiding off of you, so it is quite a big guy. If you need, definitely use that. But I'm just going to use my little guy. And then it suggests for you to add 1/4 cup of water into the bottom.
Okay.
This is just to help the peppers steam while they're baking in the oven.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pepper halves here, and we have our countertop sanitized, so we don't have to worry about that.
There you go. That was a part of our mise en place, sanitizing, washing hands, setting things up.
Absolutely. So we've got that ready to go for us. But we're going to stuff our peppers, and then we're going to put them in the oven, and we're going to cover them with aluminum foil. So
Okay.
they actually give you a really nice tip in here to spray your aluminum foil down.
Oh.
So I don't know if anybody's ever made a homemade lasagna, but I definitely, every time I do that, I add cheese to the top and
Yep.
it sticks to my aluminum foil.
Yep. That's me. As soon as you said lasagna, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
So
That's me.
that is why we do that. It is a great tip.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind.
So again, we're just spraying the aluminum foil before we put that on top once everything's put together.
Yes, and I can
Okay,
show
so
you do
we'll see that
that.
step. Awesome.
Yeah, so we'll
Oh,
just
that's such a handy tip. I will use that in other recipes as well. Wow.
absolutely. I love that they mentioned that because honestly, I hate it when my cheese comes off on the top of my
Yeah.
aluminum foil.
Such a waste. Oh,
And it's always such beautiful cheese, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, seriously?
Yes.
So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off.
Okay.
It does continue to obviously cook in the oven. So if your rice isn't quite ready, that's okay. It will go ahead and cook in the oven a little bit too. So now you may have extra mixture. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I just eat the mixture by itself because it's so delicious. So, and keep in mind, I've only tried this recipe one other time, and I just love it so much now.
Oh, okay.
So it is awesome. I'm gonna have a little extra, but I'm just gonna go ahead and stuff them right in the pepper there. And then they do get a little wobbly, so if you can kind of like push your peppers against the side so they don't fall in the water, that would be good.
Okay. Very exciting stuff.
I agree. Awesome. So I'll just stuff these real quick. And so the recipe does say that after you stuff the peppers, you can go ahead and add your cheese on right away.
Okay.
I actually like to add it right before we're taking it out of the oven. It's still hot enough to melt that cheese. But if you want to kind of melt it into your recipe a little bit when it's baking, just go ahead and add it right before you're about to do that. So I'm going to add, why not? We'll add our cheese. So let's see here. It says roughly about a tablespoon, I believe. 2 tablespoons of cheese on.
Now, is that for each pepper or just in the entire recipe?
Each pepper,
Okay.
each pepper half, you're going to sprinkle 2 tablespoons on.
Okay, good to know.
So this is actually pretty cheesy.
I love cheesy recipes.
Yeah. And you know, we didn't add a whole lot of salt to this recipe. The cheese will add that beautiful salt that we want at the end.
Yeah, oh great.
So, and of course, as always, if you need more salt, just go ahead and add it right before you're about to eat it. Just a pinch is all you need.
Yep.
So I'm going to add a little less cheese because that seems a little excessive to me. So now we're going to go ahead and take that beautiful tip that they gave us. And let's go ahead and spray this down. So I actually am using the spray today. I do have a liquid oil right here. The spray does work a little bit better for this purpose. But you can use the oil, just make sure you wipe it with your hands right on there. Yep, exactly. And we'll just go ahead. And that water is going to help your peppers. It's going to steam everything. So I just want to give everyone a quick reminder. When we're using aluminum foil like this, when you open it after you're done baking, open it away from you because that steam is going to escape from where you're opening it. It burns me every time and it hurts, so please just remember that tip.
Jordan.
I do it a lot. I make
Thank you for
mistakes
reminding
in the
us.
kitchen.
Thank you for reminding us. That's really helpful.
So, all right. Well, that will bake for 30 minutes, but as always, I've got a swap out for you guys.
Swap out.
So, in
Alright,
the
let's
chef's
take a
view
look
here.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Those are phenomenal.
They are so good. I really do love this recipe. So,
Well, those look really good, Jordan. I appreciate you for making them, and I'm gonna have to try this recipe later on tonight.
definitely encourage it.
Really quickly, I just want to do a my plate overview of what we've got going on in our recipe here today. So we've got our vegetables coming from the peppers and onions and such that we cut up and put inside of our pepper, the larger pepper. We've got our grains with the rice. We've got protein coming from our turkey, and this is a lean protein option. We've got tomatoes, I guess, technically with the sauce, the tomato sauce. So, I mean, that's a fruit. That's what they say. And then the final thing that we have is the dairy with the cheese on top. So, we've covered our My Plate here. This is an example of one of those recipes where you are getting one item that can have all the different points of My Plate. You're hitting all the different points. So, keep that in mind. This is a really beautiful recipe. I just want to thank you so much, Jordan, for preparing that for us, walking us through that recipe, giving us a lovely cooking demonstration. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. Give this
Yeah, thank
recipe
you,
a try.
everyone.
Yeah, and
Thanks for
definitely.
joining us. Look forward to that broth bag, that video. We will be putting one out. And we'll put that on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel as well. So check back in for that. And so, yeah, thank you guys for joining us for Cooking Connected. Quick review again about that survey, you guys. Don't forget, please, please, please help us out and help us continue this kind of work by taking our survey. This is the program code for this episode of Cooking Connected, the Italian stuffed peppers. And the code is going to be E097058. So that's the code for this week's episode of Cooking Connected. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you guys for your suggestions. And we look forward to next week. We've got another awesome recipe coming for you all. So thank you again. Bye, everyone.